Yeah, hello everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today and talk about uplift modeling at Marco Polo. So that's one of our methods that we actually use to optimize the steering of some postal mailings. So it's a break from LLMs, and we look at uplift modeling right now. My name is Stefan Meyer. I'm a data scientist at Marco Polo. I'm already working at the data unit for about 10 years now, trying to help the company to become a little bit more data-driven. As it is a customer presentation, I brought one slide about the company. So I guess all of you, or most of you, know who we are. So we are one of the global players in the fashion industry. And we're actually quite happy and proud that by now almost all of our products are sustainable certified. So we are especially present in the modern casual world. We are active in more than 60 countries, both with our own mono-label stores and also working together with franchise partners, and we are present in the wholesale business. Besides selling our main line, which is Marco Polo Casual, we also have a couple of sublines like Marco Polo Denim, selling shoes, accessories, and so on. And we are around 2,000 employees at the company. Compared to the size of the company, the data team is actually rather small. So we are only 5 data analysts and data scientists. We started with reporting and analysis, especially for the eShop and the CM department, as these units are, by definition, the most data-fine units. But by now, we're actually also supporting marketing and logistics. And we even start with cooperating with product and design. So these teams are by nature really creative people, and it takes a lot of work and effort to get these units also data-driven. But we're starting with this process as well. And about 3 years ago, we also started with data science at Marco Polo. That was also the time where we established Dataiku as our data science platform. And we have a couple of predictive machine learning models in place by now. And one is the uplift modeling I'm talking today. So let me introduce you to the use case we want to look at. So twice a year, we have quite a big sales campaign that we play in different countries, and we inform our customer throughout various channels, of course. Some are emails, social media, and so on. But one medium of choice is also still print. So we also have a lot of offline customers, and they still value print as high value, and it's just a haptic touch point. But as you all know, print always also comes with high costs. So we have to think quite carefully about who we should send out the mailing to. In the past, this happened just with some simple selection rules. Just sending out the mailing only to our top customer, for example, is like not the most efficient one. And if you think about the problem to who you want to send out a mailing, you pretty soon end up with this treatment purchase matrix. And on the horizontal axis, we see the dimension whether or not a purchase takes place without the mailing. So without the treatment, that's the mailing in this case. And on the vertical axis, we see the dimension whether or not a purchase takes place with the mailing. And then we have these 4 different customer segments starting at the top right corner. So we have a customer segment called Sure Things. And these are more or less our loyal top customers, and they will make a purchase no matter if you send them the mailing or not. So the mailing doesn't influence the purchase decision. Then on the other hand, we have the lost causes. And this is a customer segment who won't purchase, especially not in this campaign, also if you send them the mailing. Then there is a segment called sleeping dogs, which is actually not really present at Marco Polo. So this is more usual in the contract business, where people are actually are frightened when they receive a mailing and they don't make a purchase. So for example, in the telecommunication sector, if you remind them on your contract, they said, oh, I actually wanted to cancel it. So we don't have this customer segment in the retail business. But of course, we have the most interesting segment for this use case, and this are the so-called persuadables. So there are some customers who can actually be convinced to make a purchase if you send them the mailing. And that's exactly the segment we want to identify. So this is our goal and target, to identify these customers and send out the mailing only to these customers in order to increase the conversion rate overall. Yeah, we actually started to solve this use case already about 2 years ago. So we invented and developed several different models for this. And one of them is, I guess, the most famous approach in Uplift modeling, the two-model approach, where we actually train two separate models. One for customers who received a mailing in the past, and another model for customers who didn't receive a model in the past. And if we apply both models to our customers right now, we actually receive two different purchase probabilities that only distinguish between the case that provided the contact receives a mailing in the first model, and provided the customer does not receive the mailing at the second purchase probability. And if we subtract these two purchase probabilities, we actually end up with the predicted uplift. And that's actually what we want to try to maximize. And from that point on, we actually wanted to go even one step further, as we had the possibility to work together with the University of Cologne, a company thereof, a spin-off called Valantic. Yeah, we wanted to take the chance and see if we can actually improve the models we already had in place by using state-of-the-art methods from both industry and research. And I was collaborating with a colleague from Valantic who did his PhD in Uplift modeling. So he invented his own algorithms and splitting criteria and so on. So we really had a chance to use data from ourselves, from the industry, combined with methods that are state-of-the-art. And in this project, we went through the whole data science lifecycle again. So we really started at the beginning with some EDA again. Did feature engineering, and then after that only went on with model training. We did a lot of historical evaluations between the different models. And then finally, of course, we applied the model in our latest campaign in summer 23. And as the campaign is already over, we have the results already. So yeah, part of the project was actually about data preparation and model training. So in the first step, we used the data we had from our campaign in 2020, because there we did a big independent A/B split test on who receives a mailing and who didn't. So that was the basis for all the model training. And first of all, we only dealt with data strategies in order to come up with good data sets. So in this phase of the project, we actually didn't really change anything on the algorithms. We just used the standard settings, the standard hyperparameters for all the algorithms, and only changed the data sets. And once we came up with the best data strategies, we combined these data strategies to get even better data sets. And only after that, we started to really tune the algorithms and start with hyperparameter tuning in order to finally receive the best, meaning most robust dataset algorithm combination. So I won't go into much detail on what we really did, but just to give you an impression about data preparation. So these were actually the topics we were dealing with. I guess most of you know that these are just things you have to cope with in a data project. So we use different strategies to treat missing values. So just give you an example. If you have, for example, age as an attribute, and of course we don't have the age of all of our customers, then you have to think about what you're going to do with these missing values. You can either replace it with the mean or the maximum, the minimum, and of course there are way more complicated strategies. Then we had different feature encoding strategies. We were dealing with outliers. Of course, we had a look at correlations between the different attributes, and finally different strategies for feature selection. And in the end, we created 18 different data sets, ranging from about 30 attributes to up to 300 attributes. So the data sets were really quite different, depending on the feature selection steps. And yeah, so that's what we actually did during the first phase of the project. And yeah, we had about 17 different algorithms in place. Mostly were like tree-based, and as I said before, some were, of course, the established algorithms that are available for uplift modeling, but some were really had specific features invented or developed by Yannick in his PhD. And we evaluated around 2,000 combinations of hyperparameters. And yeah, one of the metric we were looking at is the Gini coefficient, which is depicted here in this screenshot. So basically, I guess you know that the diagonal is just the random case, the random split, and all of the models were actually able to produce an uplift and identify an uplift. And yeah, after that, we were finally ready with having the best data set in the first place, and then with the right hyperparameters, we chose the best algorithm. Yeah, then of course we were quite excited in finally using the new model for our latest campaign this summer, and we wanted to take the chance and evaluate the new model against our established models that we have, and that's why we came up with this evaluation design, where we split our customer base into 5 different customer segments, fully random. So the first 2 groups were rather small, so we put 30,000 customers in each. The control group didn't receive any mailing, and in the treatment group, every customer got a mailing. And the remaining customers were evenly split into three remaining groups. And then in each group, we actually used one of our algorithms. So we had the 2 established ones that are called Old Model 1 and Old Model 2 here, and our new model. And we selected the best 25% of customers in each group according to one of the algorithms, according to the predicted uplift. So all groups were independently from each other, so we can really compare the results in the different groups without any bias. What were the results that we've seen after the campaign was over? So we've seen that in the control group, we have a conversion rate of 10.8%, so meaning 10.8% of these customers made a purchase in the respective time period, and about 12% in the treatment group. And the difference between these 2 groups actually define our upper uplift bound. So by sending out mailings, which is the difference between these 2 groups, we can increase the conversion rate by 1.2%. And then the first model of ourselves had a conversion rate of 10.9%. So this is an uplift of around 0.2% or 14% in relative terms, compared to the upper uplift bound. Then the second model performed rather similar, so also 10.9%. And with the new model, we could actually increase the conversion rate by 0.4%. So that's almost 1/3 of the upper uplift bound, which is really a good value in terms of uplift modeling. It doesn't really sound big in absolute terms, so 0.4%, but if you think about the customer base, then it really makes a difference. And from that point on, we conducted many different analyses to investigate in what is the difference between the models. Are there different customer groups selected in a different way by the different models? And one of the analysis was also to have a further look into the segments I already introduced at the beginning. And we were able to measure the share of correct classifications in each group. That's actually due to the fact that we don't have sleeping dogs in our business. So we can definitely correctly measure these values. And the first model was actually really performing quite good in sure things and lost causes. So around more than 75% of contacts were classified correctly, meaning they didn't receive the mailing. And in terms of the persuadables, we had these 14% I showed you in the slide before. Then the second model was performing a little bit weaker in terms of sure things. So only 62% were treated correctly. And the new model, which performed best in terms of persuadables, as I said, the 1/3 of the persuadables were treated correctly. But we see here that it had the largest error in terms of sure things. So the new model actually sent way more mailings to our so-called loyal top customers. But as the distribution of the three segments, so sure things, lost causes, and persuadables is of course not identical, but we have the greatest part is actually lost causes at Marco Polo. So the classification of the lost causes together with the persuadables resulted in the fact that overall the new model was really performing best. Yeah, so what were the lessons that we've learned from this project? So first of all, we could definitely increase the uplift of conversion rate with state-of-the-art methods. But we've also seen that the new model implies a larger error in sure things, but from a strategical point of view, this is not really a big problem, because I mean, that means that we send out print mailings to our loyal customers and they usually don't complain, but of course it's wasted money. What we've learned from the evaluation design is that the maximum uplift bound is actually rather small. So we actually expected it to be a little bit greater. So, but the 1.2%, which actually defines the boundaries for any model that we can use, is really rather small. So, but that is something we cannot influence right now. But this is something we learned from this use case. And as a consequence, the economic benefit really depends on the mailing costs. So if the mailing costs are beyond a certain threshold, then it definitely makes sense to use the uplift model. But if the mailing costs are really low, then it actually is of no benefit. And for our upcoming campaign in winter, that means that we will definitely keep the evaluation design with control and treatment group, just to be able to measure the number of persuadables that we have. So they definitely can be different than in the summer campaign. And as we've heard in one of the talks before, evaluation is really important. So this is something we definitely will do. We will use the new model to target the persuadables because it's definitely performing best. But for some countries with very low mailing costs, we will actually don't use the model and send out the mailing to everybody because it's just economically beneficial. And yeah, if you want to get the most out of the model and out of the project, of course, we think about just scaling. So if you are able to have more of these campaigns, the reward is definitely, of course, greater. And we're thinking about new use cases. So where we have more personalized content on the mailing combined with these models, and about use cases that are not played as loud at this great campaign, because here customers are also informed through other channels. So if you really focus on campaigns that are only played by print campaigns, then the uplift modeling can definitely be of great help. Yeah, so that's it from my side. Thank you very much.